Yesterday, a young man by the name of Shabbos George, Vincent, a young man who went to England, and he posted something on Facebook. He says that he have served his country. I don't know how he served his country. Well, he have served his church, he have served his people. All fancy words. I don't know what he have done to conclude that he has contributed efficient service to his country that is worthwhile mentioning, but he was going somewhere. And he discovered it was hard living in a homophobic country, and now he's declaring that he's homosexual and so forth. He had a picture with an Edomite man standing behind him, and he was like a girl and the man is a masculine figure. And everybody who commented on his page, when I last saw it, it was up to 160 something comments, and there were only one comment that says anything about morality and God, love and judgment, and that was I. A lot of people was dissatisfied that I commented there. Some of the people that you see have commented him and tell him to live his truth, live his life, live his, as long as he's happy. You understand? And I now understand why St. Vincent has been going through a period of cursing. The Most High says in his word in Deuteronomy, you must never put one who is not of your people to lead you. And when you put Mitchell and Ralph Gonsalves in succession to lead you, if you notice, it gets worse and worse, and it's getting worse because we are disobedient to the Most High. Back to this homosexual thing. Homosexuality is becoming a normal thing in St. Vincent and Grenadines. The people of St. Vincent and Grenadines are now accepting homosexuality as something that is normal. It didn't just start. Let me give you an experience that I had. And it's a shame to see that Israelite men are doing the exploit of our enemies and are destroying our own people. But let me go back to the story I wanted to tell you. I was a police officer in St. Vincent and Grenadines. I was behaving like I was ordinary. I didn't understand who I was. And I was not behaving like I was special. So I had sex with this girl. And when I peed, I felt a burning sensation. You know, I tell you the truth, I had nothing to hide. I remember guys in my neighborhood who would have come down with they call it the claps. And when they try to, when they get the full-blown claps, and they try to pee, right? Because there was inflammation there, and the canal in the track in the penis were only made to emit liquid. Now there was a soluble thing coming, and it was difficult. I see big men cry trying to urinate, right? So after I feel this burning sensation, I say, boy, I'm not going to wait for this thing to get, if it's that, to get out of control. Let me go and stop it before it gets serious. So I was driving a police vehicle, and I saw Dr. Gerald Thompson office at Montrose. There was no one there. Hi, Kathy Clem, how are you? There was no one at Dr. Gerald Thompson's office at Montrose. So I say, boy, that means there's no wait. So I pull in the police trans vehicle into Thompson's yard. I went and speak to the secretary. She said, well, we have a 2 o'clock, we have a 3 o'clock. The doctor's free now. So if you want to see him, I can let you see him because we have a 2 o'clock appointment, we have a 3 o'clock appointment. Say, yes, let me see the doctor. I went into Gerald Thompson's office. And I explained to Thompson, man to man, speaking, I said, listen, I had sex with this girl. And when I pee, I have a little burning. It's not severe, but a little burning sensation. I don't know if it's an infection. I don't know if it's a clap. I don't know what it is. But I've seen when a clap has reached maturity, the effects it has. And if this is it, I wanted to help me get it before it reached that stage. He said, okay. He said, we'll do a test and so forth. And then he said, at your age, have you ever had a prostate test? No, I said, no, I never had a prostate test. Right? He said, anyone in your family ever died from cancer? I said, yeah, my mother died from cancer. So he said, well, you need to have a prostate test because prostate cancer is a disease that affects men my age, 30, early 30s and so forth. And so forth. I said, okay. So I thought he was going to give me a PSA test. He said, no, the PSA test is for when you already discovered that you have cancer, prostate cancer, to see the level, the extent of the degradation or the extent of the cancer. Right? So he explained to me how the prostate test is done. I knew about the prostate test. I was a little uncomfortable. So he explained to me what he's going to say. Well, there's a doctor, I'm a man, and he is looking out for my interests. Put me to lie down in his bed, take down my pants, put on his gloves. He lubricate the gloves. And when I lie down there, the man take his finger and whoop, chuck it up my posterior with such force, I get a headache immediately. And then he say, no, your prostate is okay. I say, what kind of examination is that? But the fact that I have never had a prostate test before, so I didn't know what to expect. But when he tell me my prostate is okay, I say, okay, well, he's the doctor. It just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right, but I had nothing to compare it to. Fast forward about 3 or 4 years later, I went to Bermuda. My brother became ill with prostate cancer. And he said, Alan, you need to go and get a prostate test because I don't want you to go through what I'm going through. Hey, Kathy, how are you doing? So I say, okay, I'll go and take a... He say, go to Dr. Sheridan. Dr. Sheridan is my friend. Tell Dr. Sheridan, you're coming for an examination. You want an overall checkup and you want to have your prostate checked. So I go to Dr. Sheridan, and Dr. Sheridan, a professional woman, she tell me what she's going to do. She put me on the bed. I lie down in the same way, and I brace myself because I am expecting the same job that Dr. Gerald Thompson gave to me. And I expect him to get a headache after. So I brace myself for this job. All I feel is Dr. Sheridan's finger ease into my posterior. And it was wiggling and touching something in there. And she said, okay, your prostate is good. She take. I said, that's how you do a prostate test? I said, what? Just say, this is strange. How come a few years ago, I trust this man with my body to do a prostate test? And this is what he did to me. What was he hoping to accomplish? I am saying this to say that people like this young man who are now confessing to be homosexuals, nobody don't wake up one morning and say they're homosexual. There are people who have been abused as children, as young men, and the abuse mess up their psyche. There was a young man from Simpson by the name of Cambridge who's living in New York City. We are not friends, but I listened to his story. He was explaining he is homosexual and he's proud to be homosexual. And he was trying to explain how he became homosexual. This guy Cambridge, his cousin came back from America, a cousin who he respected and revered and loved. And this cousin came back from America and raped him over and over and over for the duration of the vacation. The cousin told him, if you tell them, I can kill you, and they won't believe you either. You understand? So let us see, if this guy Cambridge was not raped by his cousin, what would he have been today? People. So when you see these little boys running about here, say that they are homosexual, you have to ask, how do they become homosexual? no one ever wake up a day and say, I am going to be homosexual. You understand? No one ever wake up and say, and if that happened to you, you have the ability within you to govern your urges. I was once a man who loved to have sex. I used to plan how I'm going to get the ladies that I wanted. But now I have governed my thoughts. I have governed my passion. And it is now going on to 8 years since I have last have sex. And it don't bother me. Listen to me. Even if a naked woman stand up there with voluptuous breasts and protruding buttocks and very beautiful thighs and she's naked, I would not even get an erection because now I am able to control that. It's the same way if I can control my sexual passion for woman. Any man who have homosexual urges that was rape, he can come to that stage where he can control that homosexual urges, and if he don't have a feeling for woman, he can do it without sex.